my experience is that unhappy clients become happier, that feuding couples start to enjoy each other, and that families settle down and work together. Not always, but usually after a few sessions, I begin to hear stories of victories. In therapy, as in life, point of view is everything. As a therapist, I am slightly detached from my clients' problems. I try to keep my eyes on the prize, which, while tailored for each client, is essentially the same. I want people to leave feeling calmer, kinder, and more optimistic. I want them to be more intentional in their choices, and in many cases, less impulsive in their appetites. Robert Frost wrote, "Education elevates trouble to a higher plane." So does psychotherapy. It is a way of exploring pain and confusion to produce meaning and hope. This book consists of lessons I've learned from the people who have tromped into my office and flopped down on my old couch for conversations. It distills what I have learned from hundreds of hours of listening to people answer the question, "What brings you in today?" Along with having sex, sleeping, and sharing food, conversation is arguably one of the most basic of all human behaviors. Two or more people tell each other stories. They struggle to solve the problems of their day and to laugh and calm down. Freud structured these conversations in a new way, and academics eventually conducted research on these particular conversations, but in the end, therapy consists of people talking things over. It is complicated work. Mark Twain described himself as all of humanity crammed into a suit of clothes. Everyone who walks into our office contains all the rest of us. And yet, we all run from our humanity. We prevaricate and puff ourselves up. We fear admitting how vulnerable we feel. We try to hide our flaws. Over and over again, we have to learn how to simply be human. In my case, I'm what a friend once described as a clumsy brainiac. My mother joked I could write essays before I could walk. I am blind in one eye, moody, unfashionable, directionally impaired, claustrophobic, and easily tuckered out. And those flaws are just the ones I'll confess to. But somehow I found a few people to love me. And I know their flaws and love them too. In fact, they are my close friends and family, the people I love the most. As a therapist, I see myself as a generalist, the psychologist equivalent of my mother, who was a general practitioner of medicine. I am not a good play therapist. I treat young children by helping their parents figure out how to deal with them. I avoid legal work and sophisticated diagnostics. Specialization offers financial and professional rewards, but to me, specialization has always sounded dull. 30 years is a long time to solve one kind of problem. For me, the best trick is not to have tricks. When I attempt to be clever or sophisticated, I often confuse myself as well as my clients. Once, when I suggested what I thought was a brilliant, rather mysterious homework assignment, my client asked me if I was on drugs. Another time, when I predicted the future in an attempt to generate a self-fulfilling prophecy, my hard-drinking client looked me in the eyes and said bluntly, "If you can predict the future, you ought to go to Vegas." For the most part, my solutions to human problems have been simple ones. Get more rest, do good work, take things a day at a time, and find some people to love. Of course, simple suggestions aren't necessarily easy, and they don't always work. When they don't, I generally fall back on my belief in the process of therapy. Albert Einstein said, "A problem cannot be solved by the consciousness that created it." Therapy gives clients a safe relationship in which to explore their inner world and to consider taking risks in their external one.